on September 2015, and due to the images that we have seen on TV and so on, and the fear of the city to receive a lot of asylum seekers, I was appointed as the director of the refugee plan, just in order to, first of all, make a mainstream strategy and a global strategy. First of all, just for doing an emergency preparedness plan, meaning that prepare the city to receive the refugees. This is why the background of me being humanitarian was valued. And then to see how to make a comprehensive and global policy for refugees in the city of Barcelona. So what have we done so far, which is not very much, we have not very much time, but we've done quite a lot, I think. So we just have created a reception strategy. So we thought that the resources of the city were enough and the professionals were enough to attend all the people and to attend the increase of refugees coming to the city. So we decided not to create parallel structures because we thought that this could lead to a kind of a fight for resources for rather locals that have been with problems, as for migrants and for refugees. So we didn't want to make something very different for refugees than we've done for the other undermined people in the city. So this is why we have bolstered SAIA. We just put an economic injection on SAIA and just try to double and try to increase the personnel and the people and also the services that we had already there. We've done a complementary social plan for refugees, which we're gonna explain later, and some agreements with the NGO already working. So the model of Barcelona is not, it's working with the social movements of Barcelona. So the NGOs have been here for a long time, and they've been working on migrants and refugees for a long time. So we are always collaborating with them. It's the way we work in Barcelona. It's not that we want to tertiarize or we want to do it on a public-private partnerships. We've done also, we have tried to manage all these voluntaries, the voluntary flow of people, which has been huge. So the city of Barcelona just got on the streets, and and everybody wanted to be volunteer. In 2 weeks, we had kind of 3,500 petitions of being voluntary, and as you've seen, 20 refugees, which was kind of the demand, and the offer was kind of overwhelming also. And we've tried to just make the citizen participate on the decisions that we've done in Barcelona. This is one of the weakest points that we have. On the action abroad, we've done quite a few things. We have profit of on the networks that we are working in universities, which is the main front that we have open now. Thomas will talk about you later about what this university is doing. We've done a city-to-city program, which was also mentioned by David, which is with Lampedusa and Lesbos a cooperation agreement in order to help the ones that help, and also with Athens that we have done this project of local pledges that has been actually denied by the Spanish state. We've created a city refugee network on the basis of exchange of good practices and also trying to foster legal changes in Europe and in Spain. And we've done, we have increased our financial protection in instances of transit and in origin, so in Syria, Iraq, etc. We have tried to coordinate with the Spanish state. As Ramon said, it's very difficult to plan any policy without knowing the people that will come, or the people that you have, or the people that you estimate that will come. So we know the big figures, but we don't know when they are going to come, who's going to come, and when it's going to come, and which nationalities, and from where. So it's very difficult to try to make a planification of that. We don't know all these numbers. So we are all the time trying to pressure the Spanish government, in order to meet and to give us the information. And finally, we have been trying to coordinate with other cities on the metropolitan area of Barcelona and with the Catalan Refugee Reception Committee. So let me talk really fast on the new plan that we have, which is the complementary plan. Ramon, if you want to skip this.
Yes, the complementary plan, as I told you before, is the state plan is very rigid and there's a lot of dropouts of the state plan. That at the end they are left alone in the city, they come to our social services and then you find out that by chance that it's a refugee. Oh, but you should be in the state plan. Well, but the state plan is very rigid. It implies mobility. So for example, if someone applies for asylum seeker in the city of Barcelona, it's probably he will be asked to move 1,000 kilometers away to some province in the interior of Spain or in the south of Spain. Okay, until August 2015, in the whole region of Catalonia, there were only 28 places for refugees. 28, yes, that's a figure. Okay, so, and we had more than 1,000 petitions in the city of Barcelona during the last year, so with 28 places. So where did the people go? Well, they went to other provinces, very far away. But sometimes people have lived here, they have ties here, so they have some familiar here. So if they say, no, I want to keep here with my family, they are not entitled to receive any help, and therefore they are left out of the social protection program. Also, it's very common that some people is 6 months in the Spanish state program, and after these 6 months in some other province, it's left alone, and then it has to come, well, what should I do? Because this integration, I was telling you in the first, it's not really thought. They had food, they had shelter, yes, they had some social workers, but it didn't work, the idea of finding a job in a place and a process of integration. So when they are finished the program, they are left alone in Santander or in Jaén, and where do they want to come? All refugees, big cities, it's normal, it's where the opportunities are, it's natural. Refugees immigration is a urban issue, mainly, of course there are others in rural areas, but it's a urban issue, it's the histories of cities, it's the histories of immigration. We all know that, okay? So, this is why we cannot substitute the state, we are not allowed to do that, but because of the reality is what it is, and because we find out so many people drop out of the Spanish state program, we are starting to create a complementary program to the state program. We're doing this with NGOs, local NGOs, we are creating a network of houses to support, seek local integration in the city for those who are not autonomous, who are not yet self-sufficient to live a normal life. Here it's very interesting because we have a lot of petitions of asylum seekers because lesbian, gays, transsexuals, bisexuals. Okay, a lot of people from Russia, they come to Spain, they come especially to Barcelona and to be protected, and they claim asylum seeker for these issues. And one of the things that, for example, happens very often, a transsexual is asked to enter the Spanish social program. When they go to a house with other refugees, the second day they have problems because there's violence, so they are kicked out of the program. They need special help and a special process in order to accept the reality of what means to be a transsexual and to be in a safe country, etc. So we are creating 2 houses especially for these appliers, asylum seeker appliers. You want to say something?
Yeah, just for the end because Valeria is killing me. Trying to this is the program that we want. As Ramon said, is the program. The aim of the program is to lower all the refugees to their city reality, and we want to break also the monopoly of the NGOs dealing with the asylum and add other NGOs who have different knowledge and different capacities and put them in the city and trying that the city NGOs, which have the knowledge of how to, that they know the nets and the network of the social, private and public social facilities, that they can take the refuge and make the final integration policies in the city. So this is all, and thank you, and sorry for doing something.
Thank you very much. My question goes to Ramon. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I just want to ask, you said after the crisis, you expected somehow the tension between refugees and migrants and the local community to rise, perhaps. They become more intolerant, but instead they become more tolerant to each other. But you didn't explain why. Can you please briefly explain it? Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the speech. I had the pleasure to meet Ramon already in my master program, and it's a pleasure to meet you again. I have a question, well, for both. It was more of information because we heard a lot about the program of Calbó, of the network, the Refugee, but we didn't hear much about it and how it's developed, if it's developing. I know that you focus on Barcelona, of course, and Barcelona and Catalonia is a l'avant-garde on these matters, but I wanted to know more about the network in Spain, cities, apart from Madrid and Barcelona, who are big, but also Malaga, Sevilla, Valencia, how they're dealing with this, and if you're actually sharing information or expertise in these matters. Thank you.
Okay, we try to very briefly try to answer the first question, why the crisis was increasing unemployment, social cuts, budget cuts, the increases welfare state, and the paradox of perception of immigrants as a problem decrease dramatically. You know? I think there's a mix of factors here that I can explain. One of the factors is the policies taken since many years. Local governments have done welcome policies during many years, sometimes with the support of the state, that create a fund which really was very good for the local governments to deliver policies during many years, also with the regional governments. Second, I think it's politics, in the good sense, okay? I want to say that politics, at least in the city of Barcelona, I think mainly also in Catalonia, they are very responsible, and from all parties, with some small exceptions, but most of them, of course, they have discussed about immigration. Of course, there's different approach, there's difference of opinions, but they have not taken the debate out of the boundaries of xenophobia. Okay, I think this is very important. It's not in other contexts in Europe. Is not the case. And here maybe we are distracted with other kind of political discussions, maybe, who knows. I think the third reason is the legal framework. I think in Spain we have a positive framework compared with other countries in Europe. We have something like the local registration, known as Padrón, that entitles everybody that arrives in the city, even irregular migrants, to be registered. And once a person is registered, is considered a neighbor and has local rights and local access to local services from moment zero. This really helps people to avoid segregation. Irregular migrants have access to public health in Spain. For many years, it has, so 2 years with an exception, now again, at least in Catalonia, they have access to health. It's just to give you an example of this inclusion. This inclusion has avoided this segregation. It's been very positive, especially in these times. And finally, I would say the fourth factor to explain this is the participation of the NGOs. We do everything with NGOs. It's real. There's a huge network of small NGOs all over the city participating. And here I want to just explain, to finalize this, the anecdote of our mayor. She was an activist. She was an activist against evictions in this neighborhood where there were so many evictions. This was the typical neighborhood where xenophobia, it could be very easy to plant the seed of xenophobia there. I'm a big fit because of the immigrants. This NGO that she was leading changed this course. Everybody was a neighbor there. Everybody was helping the other neighbors who were evicted. It didn't matter where you come from. you could see the actions of these activists, and you could see a lot of people from everywhere protecting the houses of the people who were going to be evicted. It didn't matter where they come from. You see unity of poor people who was being evicted, and everybody was a neighbor. So this created these social bonds in poor people that avoid the danger of xenophobia. It's an example of an NGO, but there are many others like this that really can give you the factor to explain this.